Oh, no. Okay, cool. Hello and welcome to another... No, I gotta start that one too. Start recording, because why not? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Beat Review live stream. Woo, yeah. Live on YouTube. That's what it is. Back once again with just a normal, regular Beat Review stream. No theme, no pre-made, decided samples, nothing like that. A few new camera angles though, depending on what it looked like the last time. I'm not sure. But a camera over there. And a camera over there. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. And 1, 2. Yeah. This seems to work. It's the infamous back in the house once again. So, what I'm trying to say is hello and welcome to another episode of the Beat Review live stream. Another Monday, the same time, the same place. We're doing this every other week, and every single Monday in between that, I'm doing some other kind of live stream. Last week, I sat here and we talked about rumors and leaks and predictions for the NAMM show. That starts tomorrow, right? I think. Today, it's going to be all about the beats. And it's not going to be about my beats. This is going to be about your beats. So anyone in the community... Anyone in the community is more than welcome to send beats to this little live show, and we're listening to the beats together, 2 minutes of them for at the most, and giving a little bit of feedback and some criticism and whatever like that. It's all about love. It's all about improving our skills and giving each other tips and tricks. I'm just a part of this. The chat room is a huge part as well. And since I have done a few changes with my monitor, I could be struggling a little bit more than normal, but I say that every single week. So that's a given at this point. We have some people. Awesome stuff. Dirty 1200, Atmosphere, FC Watch, I don't know how. Hannibal Actors in the house. And Chocolate Boy Swagger, who has submitted beats before, at least, I think. I know. Icon74. Huber. Carbon Vibes. Boom. Carbon Vibes in the house. With a really cool beat tag. Carbon. New York schedule means I have Mondays off. Finally getting to watch live. Stormborn. I love having you here. Welcome to the live section of the show. The show. Yeah. I'm using that terminology so much for this little concept, talking about it as a show, so I'm just not going to stop myself anymore. Now, if you want to be a part of this little live stream and send beats to the show, it's kind of an easy thing to do. Right? Oh, okay, that doesn't work with the lighting. Damn. Got to move that one. That's better. Send beats to beatreview@accuratebeats.com. A file, no links. I'm not ready to do that yet. Go into links for SoundCloud pages and YouTube links and whatever. Stormborn. Yeah, it is a show. It is. It's a live show. It's not much of a talk show, but yeah, it's a live stream. So, gonna take a little bit of time to go into the inbox and check for some submissions. Meanwhile, I'm gonna play the beat I have loaded up in VLC since before when I did my little audio test. My submission for the Christmas theme. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of beats as I'm kind of struggling with my computer logging into my email account, which is always, the two-factor thing. It is what it is. That music is coming through. It is. Awesome. So. This way, I feel like I maybe don't have to talk through the entire thing. I can just open up the inbox. He says, as he's talking, nothing makes sense anymore. Verify it's you. So, right on top of the scratch. Well, filthy animal. And there are coming more emails as we speak, which is totally fine. I kind of want that. 1, 2, 3. Let's see over here. Last time we did this, I made some mistakes and I didn't start at the beginning of the thing. Now I'm gonna start at the beginning of the thing. Beat submission for review. Kinda like this one actually. A little bit of filtering. And then we reach the end point. That's me playing a little bit of my own music. Because I kinda am allowed to. Just sent in a beat, but 2 emails. Okay. A lot of people do that. I get like duplicate emails and one email with just the text and then the email with the actual submission. So I'm gonna start with this little submission right here. That actually came in 2 days ago. The rules are totally out the window now. There's no rules anymore. I'm just doing whatever. But we're gonna play as many beats as possible and talk about them and whatever. This comes from Yvonne. Hello, Accurate and Accurate fans. I'm Yvonne. This is my beat submission made on FL Studio. Thanks for the listening and reviewing. Thank you for even submitting a beat. That's nice. That's nice of you to provide me with some music to listen to and talk about. Because that's what this entire show is all about. My beat needs to go, and we need to replace it with Yvonne. And just make sure that I have my windows aligned. Where is there? That's me. Very musical. Thank you. I try to be somewhat musical sometimes. Whatever. Yvonne, made on FL Studio. The first submission for today. Let's give a round of applause to Yvonne. The track is called Baby We Need a Beat. And we do. We do need a beat, so that's on point. One could say it's accurate. Let's go.
We need a beat.
Rock me, baby.
We need a beat.
You know what? Around October sometime, we did this themed episode where we wanted to hear scary or spooky or kind of Halloween themed beats. This could have been a submission for that week, 100%. This is cool stuff. I'm reading the chat and a lot of people seem to kind of feel the same way. It's dark and moody and cinematic and like kind of cool in many ways. And the atmosphere really drags you in. Totally buying the entire vibe, getting into the situation in a cool way, in a really cool way. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. Starting a show like this with something like that's dark and like moody, puts me in a little bit of a mood. But that's one of the things art is supposed to do, right? Transmitting or transforming the vibe from one thing to something else. And that's cool. This is good stuff. Someone else called it out and said that it sounded composed, and it did. Maybe there's some samples in there, but it's not like heavy sample-based stuff that we sometimes get. Which is, it's not a good or it's not a bad thing. It's just what it is. It's cool. Now, my only point of criticism here, first of all, the mood, the vibe, whatever, and the arrangement. A lot of stuff happened in the arrangement. It was cool and varied and, it never became stale or whatever, which is good. A lot of stuff must have been put in and thought through when it comes to the arrangement. And we heard the entire thing. Normally I try to cut it at 2 minutes. This was 2.5, and I just allowed it to play. It was interesting and that many things happened, for sure. Now, I'm not 100% sure about the sound selection here. The sample selection for the drums, first of all. And it's, of course, it's everything else. It's art. It's a subjective opinion. from me this time. Maybe the snare feels a little
We
bit.
need a beat.
Rock me, baby.
We need a beat.
And what's funny, that like 808 bass drum comes in a few
We need a
times.
beat.
Right there, we need a beat. Boom.
We need a beat.
I see why you wanted it there, but it feels like it kind of maybe doesn't really fit in. It's huge and it's cool and it adds something, but compared to everything else, it kind of sticks out in a way that makes me feel like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds cool. That amount of bass, that kind of. So I want it in the entire track. I want more of that. Because the normal kick drum is kind of thin and punchy, but kind of thin. And the snare drum is like, one of those classic drum machines, like a Linn drum or something. Maybe even an 808, I don't know. But this, at the beginning here, is such a cool way to build up the track. You're going from this minimalistic kind of stuff to something that's way bigger and kind of huge and just takes over the thing. But these ones... That's a nice touch. Because it kind of doesn't fit in, but it also really fits in. Oh, maybe it's a 606. That might be it. Door Andy, where to send the link? No links. I'm not accepting links. I'm accepting files or links to files. The email is up there. That's where you send stuff. Ivan, great freaking job. Most of all, the arrangement and how inventive you did everything, because it feels like it has a lot of stuff going on. I would try to beef up the drums just a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Not too much, not making it kind of like a boom bappy or whatever, just beefing them up a little bit. The kick drum needs a little bit more bass. The snare drum needs a little bit more mids, maybe. Right now, maybe it's a 606 going. Or maybe replace the snare in just a few sections to get even more variation. I don't know. Cool stuff. Great stuff. First submission for today from Ivan. Really do appreciate it. Nice in every single way. Moody and brought down the vibe. In a way that things are supposed to be able to do. Because the next one from Chocolate Boy Swagger, who we saw in the chat room recently. Chocolate Boy Swagger, what's good accurate? Well, I was messing around with some samples the other day, and my mood led me to this instrumental. Thanks for your time. I was messing around with some samples the other day. Yeah, that's what we all do. That's what life is. It's not what life is, but that's what it is to be creative in this kind of way. It's called Mahogany. Mahogany? Mahogany, I don't know. By Chocolate Boy Swagger, let's freaking go. Hello? Stormborn, is it possible to turn up the playback of the music? Yes, and thank you for that type of feedback. Love it. Let's increase the volume in VLC. Bam, 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 bam. Should be better. And please tell me again if something needs to be adjusted, because doing all this stuff is kind of difficult, honestly. 3 cameras, microphone, 2 different audio sources, whatever. You know, this track, totally different. Totally different vibe, totally different kind of production style and everything. This is cool. This is cool. Somewhere, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what or where, but somewhere it feels like something needs to be compressed. If that makes sense. That's a kind of a crazy statement just to say something needs to be compressed. But something about it felt wide and bassy and also kind of trebly and well balanced, but to me it feels like it should have more punch somehow. Stormborn says it reminds him of Blueprint 2, song by JC. I think that's the drums, the snare drum. The beats have been low for sure. Okay, tell me, guys. That should be a little bit louder and I guess fine. I increased the volume, now it sounds like this. This is me speaking, sounded like this, 1 2 1 2, and this is the music. It looks like it's about to peak. I think that's cool. I mean, the choir sample should have maybe been compressed a little bit to be... This definitely sounds better. Cool, thank you. Increasing it even more could be possible, but I'm not sure. Let's see this one. The VLC. Let's crank it a little bit more. 1 more decibel. Just so. You know, this track, cool. Again, I'm not sure about the sample, the snare drum. Maybe it's a cool snare drum, but maybe it's just a little bit too loud in the mix. Maybe that could be taken down. Maybe that's what needs to be compressed. I don't know. It's a cool track. It feels like, this is a rap song. Someone could rap on this. Why not someone like JC? But what I think you did a really good job, really great job with this one, is the entire low frequency spectrum. The kick drum fits so well with everything else. The bass line is nothing special, but it sits just right. To me, the bass line makes everything just wide and like deep and serious, and it feels like it's grounded for real. And that little wow works so well with the choir. Benjamin would like to hear the hi-hats duck a little bit around the snare kick. Yeah, I mean, adding some dynamics to the hi-hats is also kind of a good idea. The hi-hats just goes, 8 notes. Could have been. And to me, I say this too much, I guess, but it feels a little bit like you have a lot of stuff in the sample. It could be changed up and flipped in a different way for like a proper B section that just flips everything on its head and makes things a little bit different. Now it's kind of a loop, and for a rapper, that's all they kind of need. But maybe building up a different B section could also bring something to it. because the samples and the bass line, everything is so nice and so good and so cohesive. And flipping things in a different way could just make me as a listener go, oh, what happened there? Something different happened for 4 bars. And then I'm waiting for something else to happen. And then we're going back to the loop again. That's how we do stuff. Noting down all your ideas. This is not you. This is Charted Boy Swagger. That's not you, Benjamin. Or is it? It's not. This is Charted Boy Swagger. A great piece of music. Not much more to say. The snare drum needs to be, maybe pitch it up. That could be a thing to try. Pitch it up 2 semitones and see what happens. Because, so sometimes it's just hard to pinpoint exactly what could be improved, but I like things to kind of go together. A lot of people are using like tuner plugins and whatever to tune the bass line, the bass drum with the bass line or with the main theme or whatever. I don't do that at all. I just listen to stuff and see if it fits together frequency-wise. And to me, this snare drum is maybe a little bit dull. It's too loud, and it's maybe a different snare, or this snare made different a little bit would just improve the overall feel of it. Or maybe I'm just flat out wrong and I'm stupid. That could always be a thing. Charted Boy Swagger, thanks a lot for this one. We love hearing it. This is good stuff. Thanks. So we have played that one, and that's an ad, and that's a sponsor. That's Steam on this email account. I don't know why. That's also a potential sponsor that could be kind of cool. Waiting for a reply. The next one is from HBR36. Huber. Hey, Accurate. Lately I've been sharing some pretty dark, grimy beats. I'm still in that vibe, but I feel like switching it up a bit and going back to something more positive. Not sure that's the right word. For this one, I brought back the perfect combo of an abstract/lo-fi instrumental, MPC and SP404. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, me too. We've had beats from Huber before. And here's another one. Something more positive. I guess that's not going to be something super uplifting and like, happy-go-lucky lollipop kind of stuff. But maybe a little bit different than the grimy stuff. Let's listen to Huber. Damn. That's some good stuff. That's some good. What? Yeah, I lowered the volume on my headphones. That's why yeah. Okay. I like that one a lot. Not just everyone points out how cool the drums are, and yeah, they are. Definitely. It has that lo-fi kind of 404 sound to it, which could be overused and kind of played out, but also sounds really good. Sounds really cool. Sounds really good. The drums, that's one thing. What I'm impressed by here is the B section. Because the main A section with this dum 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 dum, that's nice. And when we are kinda on the edge, just close to the threshold of feeling that it's a little bit repetitive, then the flip comes. I think it's right here. That's what I'm talking about. The power of a different B section that just has the same, the same building blocks. It's based on the same sample. It has the same instrumentation, everything. But something just happens that makes you go, yeah. And whenever something makes you go, yeah, that's a good thing. To me, that's a good thing. And all the small things. It's right there. Small things like that. Just a quick break in something that just... Stuff like that is so freaking powerful. You can't do it for every single beat you make every time. But whenever it works really well. With this kind of swing and this type of groove and this vibe, just dropping everything completely for just, what was that? Like 2 beats and then back. So effective, so powerful, so cool. And doing it in the right place at the right time is essential. That's important. Together with the B section. Damn, this is good. This is good. This is good. I mean, if you want to analyze like the bass line, musically speaking, it's not really much to talk about. But it really serves its purpose in the track. And that's why that's what I'm always talking about. Like being technically advanced or like musically complicated never really serves a purpose. Keeping it simple, keeping it straight up, making everything sound good and feel good, that's where it's at. A bass line could be all sorts of notes going up and down the neck of an electric bass line or an electric bass and still sound kind of dull. You did the opposite. You had a few notes extended and they're taking up a lot of space and everything, but the bass line adds so much to the overall aesthetic and the vibe and the feeling. Yeah, Huber, HBR 36. I'm just going to call you Huber because you wrote that once, I think. This is good. So good. So good. Big fan of it. Impressive. How many more good words can I say? Just a quick question to you guys. Is this as weird for you as it is for me? Or is this kind of cool to have as an alternative when a beat plays? Sometimes I like going over there when we listen to something. Is this adding something or is this just super strange? First answer is yes. I don't know. I think it could. Both. Yeah. One for two. I'm not sure. Kind of strange. Yeah, I know. It is. But I realized one thing when I tried this out. I can actually do this. That's where it becomes strange. I can touch my own. And this is not a part of the beat review. I just want to let you guys know. This is not a part of it. This is just me. What happens if I touch myself? You know that's not what I meant to say. Fingers touching, whatever. Sorry about that. Let's get into the email and let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from someone called Leo. That's the sponsor again. No. Someone comes from Dirty 1200. Hey, hope all is good with you. Once again, I send you an old beat from 2008. This one is made by me and Damon Frost and released on Eat Concrete in 2008. Next time I will send you a new and fresh backed beat from my Roland. Next time I will send you a new and freshly baked beat from Roland W30. Please do, that would be so interesting. Right now we have something from Dirty 1200 from 2008. Let's give it a listen.
Sure you hip hop heads, word up, definitely representing. Words. Yo. But next up, the joint. The ultimate squad. The ultimate squad. Representing the ultimate.
Well, me and Dirty 1200 are so different. It feels like, I don't know this guy. He is from Sweden and has the craziest studio full with so many old stuff. We are old school, both of us, but we come from two different kind of perspectives. I'm not hating this. I think this is really cool, really interesting, really artistic, and really cool. It's a little bit out there. It's a little bit trippy. It's a little bit whatever. I enjoy listening to music like this way more than trying to make it. I'm way too straightforward, loops and whatever, than dirty. But I think it's cool whenever people do something that's a little bit out there and a little bit crazy. But not getting more than like 16 bars of the same idea before you totally switch it on us. Makes it a little bit different. That's what I'm saying. Not bad. It's interesting. It's cool. It's nice. It's wonderful to listen to because it's exciting and stuff happens. But maybe that's also kind of the weak point here. Too many things going on at once. It feels a little bit crowded and a little bit stressful. And that's an aesthetic in itself. I understand that. Different sections of this first part right here.
Sure you hip.
Maybe it's the third section or part. I don't know.
The next up. The joint.
This, if you had that part, I mean, this is from 2008. Okay. So if you had that section and you kind of worked with it with today's tools and today's techniques, fixing like the mixing and making the bassy and everything, you know, this section right here could be something strong.
The joint. The ultimate squad.
To me, this feels like music that belongs on a cassette tape. Because it feels like a mixtape in itself. We heard 2 minutes and 5 seconds of it, and it felt like maybe 9 or 10 different musical ideas, which is cool. It is a quality of something. It's cool, and it has its time and place. I'm just saying that it's a little bit different. Sections of it gave me a little bit of a whatever his name is, Mixmaster Mike. Kind of felt like, you know, one of the weirder interlude things on a Beastie Boys record. Awesome stuff. And again, just like with whenever we get like, film score music type of stuff, I keep going back to, I'm not smart enough to understand this. And it feels like that with this too, even though it's closer to my kind of style and my musical taste. Just how can you build something up for 16 bars and then just totally drop it and then go into something else? How can you do that? To me, it's hard to understand. But it's good. I mean, this is really good. What are you saying in the chat room? Yeah, now you're not saying anything. Dirty 1200 writes a lot of stuff in the chat room, but whenever we play his music, he becomes dead silent. That's what I would have done too, so fine. Stormborn, definitely unique. It is. Experimentation is appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on this. I'm just saying that it's different. It feels like mixtape DJ kind of music, more than, classic style of music production. Good stuff. Dirty 1200, appreciate it. And, because this is old school to me in a way that's way beyond me and what I do with my old school kind of boom bappy shit. This is, DJ music. I'm not sure what to say. I like it. Like it, and it's cool, and it's really hard to give any feedback to, because where should I start, So many sections, so many ideas, so many... Maybe that section right there could be the weak point of this. Well. James Rockwell, I think the split screen, by the way. I'm a bit behind. Yeah, you are. That's like a few minutes behind. It's still good to have you here, bro. Of course it is. That's not what I'm saying. Let's jump into the inbox and see if we have anything else. We have more beats. Too many beats, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we might be on the limit of what's going to be possible to play today. But let's keep at it. The next one, let's also, just for the hell of it, let's go, boom. Stormborn. Here you are. Hey, accurate. I hope 2026 is off to a great start for you. Creativity-wise, it is. I've made videos on the channel about gear. 2 of them. Korg's Micro Audio 722, an audio interface with a built-in filter, and the Chaos Pad V. So when it comes to videos and creative output, I'm also working on stuff. Yeah, I've had a great start. Thanks again for taking the time to do these beat reviews. This is a beat I made for No. This is a beat I made for a Dr. Dre themed beat battle last year. Outside of the drums, which were done in Machine, this was all composed mostly in Logic. Would love to hear your feedback on it. So people do that? A Dr. Dre themed beat battle? Well, I guess for like practicing purposes. Nothing wrong with that. OBS, VLC, Stormborn sounding like Dr. Dre. Here we go.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
This is for the shoes and this is for the hustlers. Now back to the shoes. This is for the shoes and this is for the hustlers. Now back to the shoes.
And it ended. You know, I am from that kind of time period where Dr. Dre's The Chronic became household. And this, if you wouldn't have pointed it out, I'm not sure I would have picked up the Dr. Dre reference per se, but it's super West Coast. Super nice, super friendly, super like musical and well put together in so many ways. I have stuff to complain about because I'm not sure about everything that's going on here, but the overall vibe with that kind of wah-wah guitar thing together with the licks really works well. In this kind of in this genre of like West Coast beats, using guitars like that is really effective. Really effective. And I mean, what stands out about this beat to me in general, the overall kind of sound quality of it, that's what Dr. Dre is known for, right? And you have a little bit of that going, which is really cool. But the bass line. Let's focus on the bass line for a few loops here.
This
the bass line sits nicely in there. Fits really well, adds a lot of stuff to it, and makes the entire, creates that kind of. This beat says, I have a good life. Not that I'm super excited about it, not that I'm super depressed about anything, it's just rock solid. My life is good. About the different elements going in here, someone else pointed it out. Those fake record scratch sounds, I could live without those any day. And maybe the whole vocal thing that sounds a little bit like Dr. Dre, Snoop kind of rhyme scheme, or like this right here. I have a hard time even understanding what that is. It sounds like a voice. It sounds like Snoop going, I don't know. Not a huge fan of that. Kind of takes me out of it. And the fake record scratches, the same thing there. And there is something going on in the mix. There's something being sidechained against something else that's also hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. But it sounds weird somehow. Not during the entire thing, but different sections. It comes out clearly in a few sections, and it makes me kind of feel like, you didn't have to do that. Yeah, okay, he did sample Snoop, so it is Snoop. I mean, it sounds... this is gonna sound like a real diss, and it's not. Don't take offense. But if you had like a music program, hip-hop EJ or whatever, from like the early 2000s, with a bunch of pre-made loops, and you can just stack loops on top of each other, going for, yeah, this is a West Coast hip-hop song. It has a little bit of that vibe to it, which goes with the whole Dr. Dre theme. I understand it. But it also feels... It's not bad at all. But it feels a little bit plasticky. Maybe it's just because it's dated. It's a flashback. 100%. Takes me back to whenever I listened to Dr. Dre a lot. And I kind of didn't know many rappers, but Snoop and whatever. It's a good piece of music. It's well put together, well produced. Sounds good. It is good. The style itself might feel a little bit... the style feels dated. And that's... you kind of hitting the theme perfectly. So, good job for that. Good job, Stormborn. Cool stuff. A few strange choices going on, but we're all different. Next comes from Freakwave. Hi, Ack. This was the second beat I made on the MPC Live 3. Still a work in progress. I sampled an old Japanese record, thrift shop find, basically playing around with two main patterns. I hooked up my MIDI controller to the MPC and used one of the air instruments. I don't think I remember the exact plugin on the MPC. Plugins for the suitcase organ sound and played that. I read that wrong, but I think you understand. The mixing is rough at best. LOL. Freakwave. With I need to download the file. That makes sense. I need to download the file to my actual hard drive, open it up in Finder, dragging it into VLC, because I'm too cool to have a Stream Deck. There we are. Freakwave with some, it even says in the title, work in progress. So let's have a listen to Freakwave in the middle of the process. Damn. The musicality of that, I mean, that sample is dope, obviously. Damn. I mean, maybe because we started talking about remembering stuff and like, you know, a blast from the past and all that. I also had, or me and my entire like friend group back in the day had this whole, everybody got obsessed with anything from the Rhymesayers. Kinda. You know, a lot of Atmosphere, a lot of, what was his name? Griefs? Brother Ali, Aesop Rocky, Aesop Rock, my bad. ASAP Rocky. Aesop Rock. To me, I mean, obviously the drums needs to be louder. Obviously, the drums needs to take way more space in the mix. And maybe even, I don't say this too much, but maybe even a little bit of sidechaining would kind of work here. Sidechaining the main sample with a kick drum to give it a little bit of, you know, that could make sense. I'm thinking about Atmosphere. I'm thinking about Slug and Ant making this because it's nice and musical. It has all the qualities that they normally have. And it also has different sections for different parts of the track. Using a great rapper for this that has great lyrics and kind of a well-spoken persona. Telling a story about something. Or something yeah. Maybe something that's a little bit, you know, has to do with politics or something somehow. Something that means something. Damn. This is good. The different switch-ups. And also, what stands out? The changes, like the transition between one part and the next, is so seamless, it feels so musical, and it makes so much sense. I'm just taken from this place to this place to this place without even like doubting anything that's happening. So freaking good. And I like the fact that you didn't go crazy with the drums, going like, you know, keeping it straight, keeping it simple, keeping it cool, and just allowing the sample to do the heavy lifting. And the bass line, of course. So melodic, so musical, so cohesive, so simple to understand, easy to get the rhythm of it. It's not too complicated, not too simple. Good stuff. Needs to be changed with the mix. The drums needs to be way louder and take, that's what I think. Beats Platoon needs a rapper. I don't think it needs a rapper. I love beats, musical, instrumental beats just as they are. I could listen to this one for days just as it is. With a rapper on it, it would have to be someone like Slug. In my book. Good stuff. I don't have much to say. The drums needs to be louder. That's kind of my only thing. I find this piece of music to be nothing but beautiful. Beautiful, well-sounding, well-produced, well put together. Cool. So I forgot to mark that one as played, and I need to move over to this one here. Icon 74. Icon 74, you're not going to be the last one today. Isn't that cool? Isn't that great? We managed to not put you last in the stream. Icon 74 says, Icon 74 here, and this is my submission for the stream. Yeah, Icon 74 in the emails is not much of a communicator. Let's play Icon 74 right now. No! Let's play Icon 74 right now. That's about 2 minutes of it, so I'm gonna stop it. You know what? This is good, but we've had a few submissions now, one after the other. That makes this one worse than it is. And that's not a nice thing to say, but that's my honest opinion. This is good. It's something about it that feels a little bit locked in. And that's not how you say things in English, but I don't care. It feels like it's been it feels like it's held back by something. Really hard to put my finger on what it is. Maybe it's not just not a strong idea. It's well executed. I like the slow tempo and the overall kind of vibe of it. But to me, there's something that kind of maybe it's as simple as like the pitch is, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just that simple. It's not the strongest idea. Because rarely a beat or a piece of music produced by someone is better than the idea for it. The sample material is good, and you made the absolute most out of it. I'm pretty sure. But maybe it's just not fun enough. Everything doesn't need to be fun. That's not what I'm saying either. But it feels a little flat somehow. And Icon74, we've heard a lot of stuff from you before. We have. I know you're good. That's why I'm being a little bit harsh and a little bit critical. And you keep changing the notes underneath it to make it fun and interesting. I appreciate that. I noticed that. But there's still something that kind of makes me... You know what? I'm going to be dead honest and say, this is good. But it doesn't work for more than 1.5 minutes. The way it is right now. If you're listening to kind of a mixtape, a beat tape of some sort, and there's a track in the middle of it that has this amount of tension and this kind of mood, but it's just 1.5 minutes long, I think that would be great. But as the fight is 4 minutes. I don't know if anything really cool happens after the 2-minute mark somewhere, but it's something about it that feels... Is there a lack of personality, a lack of attitude, a lack of personality? I'm not sure what it is. Now I'm going to look at the chat and see if anyone agrees or if I'm just... Icon74 says it himself. It's more of an interlude type of beat. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is. You have a few change-ups and you really made the most out of it. But maybe it's just meant to be this cool, exciting little vacuum. That's what this is. And then it doesn't need to be much more, you know? It's 1.5 minutes long. You know, adding that and everything... You put a lot of work into it. You did a lot of cool stuff. Somehow it's something about it that doesn't really... I don't find it appealing as a piece of music. And I don't know why. Maybe I'm just an asshole. It was hella chill, my man. Yeah, it was. Super chill, super cool. But not exciting. I'm telling you, it needs one more sample to switch up the melody parts every so often. Maybe that's it. Benjamin says maybe with vocals. I think with vocals this would work really well. Yeah. Maybe I'm yeah, okay. Imagine a rapper on top of this. This could be someone, just because we mentioned him before, this could be A$AP Rock. Or the old Tyler, the Creator. The old version of him. A rapper that's like dark and gritty and has this kind of like, that would work. So for a rap beat, for a rapper with a lot of personality, yeah, this is good. Just as it is. As an instrumental, it's more of an interlude kind of thing if it's meant to be that. But with a rapper, this could shine. My bad. At least I can kind of, the word, confess when I'm wrong. So yeah, this is better than I thought. If we think about an actual vocalist on it. Thank you, Icon74, and sorry for being kind of hard on you. Sometimes it's just like that, you know? A piece of music doesn't appeal to you. And I think that's borderline doesn't appeal to me. Borderline. I don't hate it. Just something about it. I would try different pitch values, pitching the entire thing up, making it more like or pitching it down, making it more like Admit is the word. I can admit when I'm wrong. Yeah. Thank you, Wigmaster. Now we gotta move on. Now I feel bad. Icon, you know, you know that I like you a lot. I appreciate everything about you. This was, to me, just not your strongest submission. If there's not a rapper. Let's move on. We can't stay on for that long. The next one comes from Illinois. The subject line in the email is "Don't disrespect." Okay. Yo, what's up, Accurate and the ABC gang? ABC, Accurate Beat Review Community. It's been a minute since I made a beat. Made this one a few months ago, sampled me on key, bass, and guitar. Chopped up some drums, added a few random vocals. Hope y'all enjoy. And not reply. Oh, there's no audio file. Illinois. I guess there's another email. There's not another email. There is another email. Oh snap, forgot to link the beat. Here we are. Okay, the name of the beat is Don't Disrespect. That makes more sense. Illinois, let's go.
You've been honest all the time.
Me too. They're beautiful. What are these? What's all the stone for? Huh.
I know my words, I'll shut you down. And I'm not gonna shut up. I will not be quiet. I have the energy for it. Don't disrespect me. Know your level and your name. Do you get it? That was no bullshit. You let people walk over you. Do you understand? Okay then. When you overstep it, you get the results of this. How many chances have I given you? Want to disrespect? Don't disrespect me. I disrespect you. We're all disrespect.
You know what?
You've been honest all the time. I like the trees.
Me too. They're beautiful. How's it going? What are these? What's all this stone for?
I don't know.
Huh.
I know my word. I'll shut you down, and I'm not gonna shut up. I will not be quiet. I have the energy for it. Don't disrespect me. Know your level and your lane. Do you get it? That was no bullshit. Do you understand? Okay then. When you overstep me, you get the results of this. How many chances have I given you? Want to disrespect? Don't disrespect me. I disrespect.
Okay, James Rockwell said exactly what I thought. This sounds like a band warming up. It does. To me, having the willpower and being able to have all that kind of potential in something, the kick is fire, the snare as well, the bass line and the guitar thing together with the Rhodes, everything that gets created here sounds so good, but it's not a beat. If I called Icon 74 Force track kind of an interlude thing, this is the definition of an interlude. It's good, but how can you not take all those different parts and make something that's like pumping? I'm not talking a high tempo, high energy, but just making it a cohesive, looped up piece of music we can enjoy. This was so beautiful in so many ways, but it never became what it could have been. That's what I think. Just take out all the vocal speaking stuff and take out all the drums and give us that stuff to sample. You know, the way the frequencies interlined and the way everything worked together at some specific points in here is so beautiful and so cool. But the fact that you never kind of went into full beatmaker mode made me a little bit disappointed, because you have the ingredients 100% for something that's dead on. And you took those ingredients and just put a little bit of it here, a little bit of it over there, and then you kind of did this with it. Why? Why?
I like the trees.
Me too. They're beautiful. How's it going?
Super soulful, super fantastic and great and beautiful and whatever, but it never became a track. All ingredients, no sauce. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. All ingredients, but kind of mixed in different bowls, you know. I'm gonna make a soup. So I'm gonna take the carrot and put them in that bowl, and then, you know, I'm gonna take the stock and put it in that bowl, and I'm gonna take the onion and put it in that bowl, and then I'm just gonna leave the table. What? Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. That's all I can say about it. Beautiful, but I am sorry that you didn't make a beat out of it. You could have. Next time I'm bringing the soup. Please do. Please do. If you have all those ingredients, I mean, again, it's willpower to not do it. And I kind of respect that, but it also feels like you could have taken this to a place where it becomes a soup. We could have had soup, everyone, and we didn't. Beautiful sounding stuff. The way everything just glued together. Beautiful. Now I've said that 6 times, I think. Let's move on to Carbon Vibes. The following beat is from this month's sample challenge from Kirk State. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for everything you do. Hanging out in the chat room, helping people out, getting feedback, giving feedback. Mwah. Carbon. Carbon Vibes, let's fucking go.
What are you in real life? I remember having to be something like that.
Carbone.
That's good. That's good. And he points out himself in the chat room, if y'all like the drums, they're from EA Skis drum packs. That's good to know. Resources. Sharing resources. That's good. This is cool. The drums sounds good. I mean, the drums are more than good. I like the drums a lot. But what stands out and what's impressive here is that you have a lot of those pizzicato strings things that pretty much every producer in the beginning just goes to, because they sound kind of huge and they have a vibe and some tension to them. And then whenever you get a little bit further along in your producer journey, they become like super whack and played out, and you don't want to hear them. And you put them to work in a really cool way. You made them work. You know, pizzicato, I'm not a huge fan of it, but you did it in a good way. And musically speaking, you've done this before. Carbon Vibes has this weird, good tendency to work with, I call it counter melodies, but someone else said it right. Call and response. Made so well. Yeah. Good call and response. That's exactly what it is. When you have two different melodies that kind of complements each other in a way that's, you know, you wouldn't really come up with that playing that once. You need to play one of the melodies and then listen to it and play something on top, and if it works, it works. In this case, it really did. And that brings a lot of musicality to it in a way that just feels professional. I hate that word, but that's what it does. Sometimes that's not good, sometimes it's good. In this case, I think it is good. The mix itself strikes me as loud, maybe too loud. It's really punchy, it's really in your face. Maybe it becomes a little bit too much, but that's when it comes to dynamics, it's kind of hard to nail the aggression and the punchiness. Getting it punchy and cool, but not too much. I think this is borderline too much. And it's also tastefully done. In the fact that we have those different melodies, the counter melodies, the call and response thing, and we have the huge drums, which means we don't have a lot of space for the bass line when it comes to our mind spaces. And you know that, so you kept the bass line simple. I think that says something about your production style and your skill level. That's not a bad thing at all. Because another producer would try to go crazy with the bass line too. And you kind of held it somewhat concise with everything else, and I think that makes sense. This is good. Oh, now he's saying that the vocals at the end were extracted from the sample, then worked in. That's I want more of those vocals earlier on in the track to have a different section of that earlier. But that's me talking about arrangement and whatever. What can I say? Carbon knows what he's doing. Just gotta hear the tag one more time.
Where are you in real life? I remember having to be something like that.
Carbon.
Carbon. Good job. I don't have much to say about it. Good job. Maybe a little bit too punchy. People hate when I say that. Now we're back to Illinois with the second email, and okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 more to go, and we have already played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 19 in total. We're not going to be able to do that in half an hour, but we're going to go as far as we can. Next track comes from Donnie. It's called Sexual Beings, and it doesn't have a single character in the email. So let's just have a listen and see what we feel about this one. Thanks again, Carbon. Awesome stuff.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We're all sexual. We're all sexual. We're all sexual.
Donnie the Wrangle exclusive.
We're all sexual. We're all human, and we're all sexual beings too. So. We're all human, and You know, we're all sexual. You know, we're all sexual. We're all sexual. We're all sexual beings.
Okay. That's what it is. I'm cutting at like 2 minutes now, for real. This is cool. It's called Sexual Beings. And I mean, it has a little bit of that kind of vibe to it. I know what you're saying. I know what you're going for. People in the chat seem to be horny. You know, do whatever you do. Illinois says, that baby making music. Yeah, it is. I mean, everything we heard here was well produced, to the point, good stuff. Everything about the drums, all the percussion stuff, everything kept it interesting and fly. And of course, the bass line. So everything we heard was really good. Everything we didn't hear would have been good too. What I'm trying to say is that I just want more. Sure, if you have like some R&B singers or stuff, I don't even know, it could become something else. That beat got all the chats pregnant. Yeah. But there's a lot of bass and there's a lot of drums. Maybe, I mean, it's really cool and exciting as it is. So maybe you don't need to add like the most complex melodies in the world, but something to break up the frequency range a little bit. We have a lot of hi-hats and a lot of click-clacks.
You know, we're all human.
And there are some stuff going on. I call them percussive stuff, but I guess they're like melodic instruments going. If you just would have added some kind of top-line synth, maybe not necessarily a rememberable melody, but just some other sounds. I'm not talking about notes, I'm just talking about sounds. Something that kind of puts a little bit of emphasis on something that happens. It's cool as it is, but maybe it's just because I make music myself. I feel like, yeah, you could have done more. You could have added some kind of arpeggio figure going in the background. You could have gone for, extended, longer synth notes going. Could have done so many things. It's cool as it is, but I think it needs more to be its own kind of piece of music. As always, when I do these streams, I'm getting thirsty, and this one is out. That's unfortunate. Out of Fanta. Yeah. Just wanted to say that. I'm thirsty, and this is empty. Yeah, an arpeggio might be nice, right? It needs some movement. I know, that's what I'm saying. A big pause. Well, I mean, it's kind of sexy and it's kind of vibey and it's kind of cool. It is, but I still, I'm hearing all sorts of instruments on top of that. Not like instruments like a saxophone, but you know what I'm saying. Something that goes with the vibe and the feeling and everything, but something that adds some movement, some more higher notes that just breaks up the frequency. Also sounds like Timbaland a little bit.
You know, we're all sexual beings too, so.
The sliding stuff with the bass is interesting and cool, and that does a lot of heavy lifting. You are going far with that kind of bass line. But something else. Something else. Now, it's Fanta. Fanta Lemon, Fanta Zero, of course, with my diet and everything. Fanta Zero Lemon. One of my favorite drinks these days. Carbon and a wah-wah guitar. I don't know if we want to be that on the nose about it to add a wah-wah guitar and make it like super sexy. maybe though. Well. Donnie with sexual beings. Thank you. Breaking up the vibe of it. Breaking up the vibe. The next one comes from Mass. Harbor Photography in the chat. Hey, Accurate, I hope you're well. Last time I sent you a beat was about 6 years ago. Damn. Hey, Accurate, I hope you're well. Last time I sent you a beat was about 6 years ago when you did the occasional review. Yeah, I did that as edited videos. Took me too much work. It was my first beat and I've been hooked ever since. Glad to hear it. Anyway, here is my short song for review. I struggle with the mixing, but any advice on how to improve the beat or mixing is appreciated. Peace out from Mass. Damn! I did some beat reviews on the channel as actual videos. Listening to the beats in beforehand, writing stuff down, standing in front of the camera and talking about it. That was a cool thing. I think this concept is better, but this guy was there 6 years ago. So, that's cool. Makes me realize that I've done these YouTube shenanigans for too long. The name was Maz, M-A-Z. Let's go.
Stuck in a ghetto, I don't like this. Look at me again and I might flip. Watching out my window with a tight fist. I just wanna run up on a druggie till his life ends. With a knife to his back, then I shove it right in. And really, I'm sick of this rap shit, so I might quit. Everybody move, you don't want me getting rude. I don't play by the rules, so you better close your eyelids. I just don't get why my mama had to die, but as alcoholic, fuck on my drive, is still alive. Every day I'm living in pain, waking to cry. Cause I gotta go and visit the greatest for me to feel like my mama's still by my side. I really feel I deserve this. Ain't nobody putting more work in. My high school bully said I'm worthless, but I went #1 on iTunes with my verses. You rappers are nothing, you really bluffing, you really thinking you got it, but motherfuckers be frontin'. Every time they on a record, gotta pretend to be stuntin', but can never make a song about loving or being something other than somebody bustin' up a pill or two. So let me dumb it down, you fucking suck, you fucking blood suck a dummy. Every time I come around in my own town, nothing but a bunch of wannabe thugs, tuck your guns now. Told you that I'm different, I ain't fucking with nobody less than shit about to give me that win. Fam gotta eat, and I gotta dream, and I'll be damned if I trust another fucking friend. But look at me now, better than I've been, and I ain't have to do it by showing up in the pen. Look at my grin, I'm just praying for the day when I'm able to break the face of the dude that hit my sister in the chin. Back up on bullshit, who knew I would do this? You stupid if you thinking that I'm clueless. You too, you foolish. I just maneuvered, you just a nuisance. Who needs a blueprint? I just produce it. Thinking that you better, but I'm more clever. If you try to battle, you gon' sink your whole crew. One time for the friends that I never had. 2 times for them bullies who would beat my ass. 3 times for the same local rappers always saying know me, but they never seem to out-rap. 4 times to the ghetto that I'm stuck at. 5 times ducking shots when they bust caps. 6 times that I would never make it, but I'm praying for a placement, even though I won't touch that.
I mean, we gotta appreciate the musicality there. Whenever I get submissions with actual rap verses on them, it kind of changes everything. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. In this case, I think for the better. Someone pointed it out in the chat room too, that the rhymes... What did you say? Basically that the rapping helped the beat out, or saved the beat even. Maybe that's true to a certain extent, but if you start listening to the actual notes of the bass and how that works with the melody, this is well put together. This is good stuff. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not, maybe it's something corrupted, maybe I don't know. To me, the amount of distortion This is not a style of music I'm very, very like into or know much about. But to me, that amount of distortion becomes... You are definitely on the edge of being like, yeah, it's too distorted, can't listen to it, it kind of bugs me, whatever. And also, see what you're doing, it's kind of interesting, it adds some overtones and some harmonics and whatever. Nah. But I mean, at the end of the day, the drums in this genre, they are what they are. That bass line and that melody complements each other in a really nice and musical way that just makes a lot of sense. Why is it this distorted? I don't know if it's an active creative choice. In that case, maybe I would try to revisit that and make it a little bit less distorted. Maybe not. The rapping helped. The more I think about it, it did. As a beatmaker and producer myself, I try to focus on the beats more than the lyrics and the rapping most of the times. In this case, it became this whole thing. It feels like a song, you know.
Just for me to feel like my mama's still by my side, I really feel I deserve this.
When you're trying to do that fast thing with this beat,
watching out my window with a tight fist. I just wanna run up on a druggie till his life ends. With a knife to his back, then I shove it right. And it really comes to get his rap shit, so I might quit. Everybody move.
One option could be to go for even more distortion with the bass line. Going for that, you know, dead press, hip, hop thing. Because when it's this distorted without being like super distorted, I have a hard time... Harbor Photography is actually in the chat room. Cool. Thanks for revisiting the concept 6 years after. That's awesome. I think this is good, but since it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, I have a little bit of a hard time understanding exactly what the meaning and the point is here. I think it's
You don't want me getting rude. I don't play by the rules, so you better close your eyelids. I just don't get what
the synth sound on the melody. Doom, 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 doom. It's really good. Really good.
My mama had to die, but as alcoholic, fuck on my drive, is still alive. Every day I'm living in pain, waking to cry. Cause I gotta go and visit the greatest for me to feel like my mama's still by my side. I really feel I deserve this. Ain't nobody putting more work in. My high school bully said I'm worthless, but I went #1 on iTunes with my verses. You rappers are nothing, you really bluffing, you really thinking you got it, but motherfuckers be frontin'. Every time they on a record, gotta pretend to be stunting, but can never make a song about loving.
We have a super chat from Beat Platoon for €4. Thank you, Beat Platoon. I appreciate that very much. Very mouse and a mouse. I appreciate it. Very mouse and a mouse. Sorry. And then we have a question. Do you review all genres? Thanks. Well, to my best ability, I try to. We're getting a lot of stuff in my kind of genre because, you know. But if you want to send something that's way far out, more than welcome. Not going to add more beats today, though. I think we set the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the ones I have right now is definitely enough for today. We're not going to go past this. So not today, but maybe in 2 weeks. This track is cool. It's cool. I don't know much about the genre, so I'm kind of fumbling. But it's not bad. Nice and simple, has everything going, and the rhymes, the rapping helps a lot. Good stuff. What did you say? I didn't do the rap. Just the beat and the music. Yeah. I'll look at that. I think it's talking about the distortion. I'll look at that. Was trying to get some warmth in. Yeah. In this genre, I'm not sure. The beat definitely isn't bad. Hannibal Lecter. No, the beat is not bad. I'm not saying that it's bad. At all. I'm listening on a phone, but I would love to hear more bass. Okay. That doesn't... send in a contra song and you will see. Well, send whatever you want, and I'm going to say whatever I want about it. That one was cool. The name of this producer from 6 years ago and also now, Mass. thank you for sending it in and returning to the thing after 6 years. That's crazy. I can't believe I've done stuff like this for that long. The next comes from Audiloon. Hi, Accurate Beats. I'd love to share one of my tracks for your beat review. I'm new to electronic music journey, exploring creating for the sole purpose of fun. Please forgive at the moment using my phone for recording. Using my phone for recording, so this could be... We don't know what to expect from the audio quality here, but let's give it a try. And this one came from Audiloon. Let's go. Okay. He said, please forgive at the moment using my phone for recording. So maybe this is someone making music on a device or a computer and then recording the audio with the phone in the room. That could be it. I'm not sure. It's an MP3 file. Okay. I'm not sure what we just heard. But from what I could hear and pick up from it, there's a lot of interesting and cool ideas in there. But I feel like we didn't hear the right kind of audio quality of the track. But it has a lot of interesting ideas. The repeating notes kind of struck, that worked. The drum pattern went a little bit all over the place, but maybe not in a bad way. It's hard to know what's what. The hi-hats comes through really clearly, but then there's a lot of... Okay, there you are. He is in the chat. I'm new to this, but I will learn. KO2. Okay, so this is made on the KO2. Kind of makes sense considering how you sequence everything and like build up the layers. Okay, I see that. But please try to explain to us, what did we hear? The music from the KO and a phone held up to it? Is that it? Because if you make music on the KO2, you need to record that audio into something else. That makes sense. If you don't, you just hold your phone to it. Please try to explain to us what it was. It would be interesting. I mean, this is good. In some ways, this is really cool. It's on beat and it has everything going for it. It sounds like a track, but it's hard to distinguish what's what because of the frequencies being all meshed up. I know, actually, it was the rhythm. Yeah, but still, it's a KO2. Good job in many ways. A lot of cool ideas in there, but it's really hard it doesn't translate to the file. I'm guessing what you're hearing in the room from the KO2 sounds way different to what we heard in the file. That's what I think. Do you offer the paid skip the line process super chat? No, I don't. Nothing like that. You can't pay to skip the line. You can't super chat to skip the line. You can super chat to be nice and friendly and supportive, but that's all. I'm giving everyone the same opportunity here. Vice really wants to hear his beat. Yeah, he does. He came in a little bit late. There's going to be another show in 2 weeks. You know what, Orderline? It wouldn't be fair of me to say too much about this. I appreciate some of the stuff I picked up, but the audio quality and it doesn't translate at all from what I guess that you're hearing to what I'm hearing here. It's not the same thing. So we played it, and I had some thoughts, and you guys said some stuff in the chat room, but I think we're going to move on. 2. Cuba. No, Jacob. My bad. Jacob. Hey, I started with music last year. I sent you some projects from today. Some project from today. Greetings, Jacob. That sounds cool. Started music this year. So this is someone who's kind of new to the game. Let's have a listen. Pasty, I'm sorry, there's no more time to send in stuff. I'm supposed to end the show in 1 minute, actually. And I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep going for some more, but adding even more to it, it's not gonna be played today. I'm sorry. Now, let's double check if I have my settings wrong, and it's me. No, it's not me. The track itself is, mixing and keeping track on every single track, making them blend in a musical way that makes sense is really difficult. You are new to music making. You started this year. No, not this year. I started music last year. I mean, I have a really hard time like relating to being a beginner now, having all the technology we have. But what's cool here is that everything is on beat. The rhythm is actually kind of cool. But the problem with this one, because there is a problem, and the problem with this one to me is just the mixing. The first step of mixing is, I'm not an expert on this myself, but the first step is always to find the volume balance between the things. Music, sound has frequencies from bass to treble. Everyone knows that. So sometimes you need to change the volume of the different frequencies with an equalizer. Sometimes you don't. But just managing the volume between different tracks and different instruments is the first step. And the next step is maybe to scoop out some frequencies that's not necessarily in a certain track. In this case, the mix itself feels like it's overdriven, it's too loud, it's breaking apart, it's distorted in a way that's not musically pleasing to me. And that's maybe because the levels of the volumes of the things are all over the place. A lot of the sounds used in here, a lot of the samples and a lot of the musical ideas are not bad. Not bad at all. But to someone who's been making music for years, even though I'm not an expert per se, I immediately hear that there's stuff going on here that could be fixed and make this idea of this beat translate in a way that's more musically pleasing and easier to listen to. So the mixing process has gone south here somehow. But the progression, down, 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 it's not bad. It's not a bad idea. I have strong opinions about this scratch record sample thing. Don't like it. I think if you're somewhat new to this, I think the mistake you made here is you kind of did just too much. Did you say something about the gear? No, started with music last year. So maybe you're working, let me just spit some ideas here. Maybe you're working in a DAW and you have this track that sounds like dum, 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 dum. That's cool. Then you duplicate it to another instrument and you do the same thing to kind of change it up. And then you can maybe do that once more. So you have 3 different instruments playing the same thing, becoming 3 layers of a sound. And that's a totally valid thing to do things. A totally valid way to do things. But then you need to compensate. You need to take down the volume. People are already talking about dynamics and stuff, and that's what it becomes. You're left without any dynamics because everything is just slammed, you know. So get into the DAW, the sampler, the whatever you use, and just turn down the volume of pretty much everything and make sure that there's somewhat of a balance between things. That's my actual point of feedback here. The track itself could be kind of cool. The musical ideas, I don't have anything against any of those. It's just the way it comes out. The way it sounds is too screamy, so to speak. I mean, there are dynamics in all sorts of things in life, but in music we're talking about dynamics a lot. And then we're talking about volume and differences, contrasts between, high volume and low volume, contrast between a lot of bass and a lot of treble, mostly volume and intensity. And when everything is slammed to the absolute max, you don't have any dynamics left. Everything is just, as like a person just screaming. You need some dynamics in how you speak as well. I kind of suck at that myself, but sometimes it kind of makes sense to, get down a little bit and speak differently. And sometimes this is actually called for. And that's what I think you kind of need to pick up on here. What in this track do I need to emphasize? And what stuff needs to be in the background? Keep making music. Keep evolving, because understanding the stuff I'm talking about now is tricky. But once you can understand it and get a grip, doing it feels so good. And then you're left with something that sounds like the way you wanted it to sound. Simple as that. Without having to go crazy learning about what the compressor is and how limiting works and whatever. Do less in the beginning. Do less of everything and make it sound good. One step at a time. That's some actual feedback. We don't always get that, but sometimes we do. The next track comes from someone called Andreas. Hey. Nothing crazy, but I typically hide all my music, and I want to change that, and I want to know what you think. Thanks for everything you do online. All the best, Andreas. Do you guys know that my name is Andreas? Do you know that? It is. The track is called Seek Track and Guitar. SEQ track. That's the Yamaha thing. I haven't gotten around to try, but it seems not too good. But you can definitely make good music on it. That's not what I'm saying. The file is over there. Needs to be pulled into VLC. Already did that. Let's play music from Andreas. You know what? This is music that's sitting here having opinions and judging and giving feedback to something like this is, you know. This feels like music that comes from someone who just had a beautiful little time making stuff. It's nice and simple. It's not too complicated, not too many things going on, and it's not like overbearingly much of anything. Beautiful piano chords, some nice vocal humming and whatever, and some drums. That doesn't exactly fit in there, but kind of do. Could you have added more? Yeah, we also have the synth bass line. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's nice. It's calm and collected and chill in kind of a grown-up, sophisticated way. You know, if you wanted to make this a little bit more like upping the attitude a little bit, I think you could. Misaligning the drums on the timeline a little bit, switching it up, making it more human or whatever. But there's also a cool contrast going on between the really low piano chords and the vocal, and then the drums, kind of classic hip hop drums, but made in a lo-fi kind of low energy way. It feels nice and thoughtful. Makes you just enjoy it more than trying to analyze it. My feedback to this is that it's nice. It's beautiful. It has personality. It has a vibe and some really powerful emotion in there. But as for music production goes, the bass line makes it different and special and gives it a personality. But maybe you need more of a melody somewhere, because we have the chords and we have the vocal thing, which is pretty much a melody. But why not take the step, take the leap and add a few piano notes for some kind of melody top line idea that, you know, plays 2 octaves above the chords and just brings a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of crispness, a little bit of hope. Because even though it's really beautiful with all the chords and everything that's just adding something that just breaks it apart somewhere would be kind of beneficial, I think. This is me thinking, having ideas. I don't have all the answers. This is cool stuff as it is. You said, Andreas said something here. What was the email? I typically hide all my music. Please don't. Don't hide your music from anyone. If it feels awkward to like upload it to Spotify and telling everyone that you made a track, don't. Send it here. Let people in the community hear it, because this is cool. This adds something. I do want to stress that I'm not being too critical. I'm just giving ideas. A few piano notes in a higher register would add something that's missing from this. That's what I think. Am I wrong? Chat room, what are you saying? Some brass. Beat Platoon says some brass. Yeah, imagine like a trombone. That's a good idea. That kind of does the same thing as, yeah, that would be cool. Keep everything as it is, but with the same kind of melody where you have the humming, add some trombone. Yeah. Pasty says, throw a break on it. I mean, this style is not supposed to be a break beat on top of it. It doesn't fit in. I know what you're doing. But I think you could have done... Whoa. Okay, I'm fucking everything up. I want the other one. I did something. Okay, there we are. That's number one. That's the double one. That's that one. 1, 2. Okay, cool. Beautiful piece of music. Love the chords. Love the vibe. But it could be more interesting if you added something more. That's what I'm saying. Now, I think we set the bar over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We still have 6 beats to go. Need to speed it up. Simon Erickson. Hey, accurate. This one again. CYZEZZ. Pronounced Says, as in Simon says. Yes, you've said this before. My bad. Hey, accurate. Sai says here. This is another beat made on the MPC-1 called Wrong Direction. I hope you like it. Ha det gott. Yeah, Simon is from Sweden, so he knows his ha det gott. And we're gonna ha det gott by listening to his beat. Kinda. The demigods has left the building. Yeah, Simon has submitted beats before, and he samples a lot of orchestral stuff, and he makes some really well-sounding, high swing amount, super groovy, boom bap, real shit kind of stuff, which I really appreciate. I love that stuff. In this case, he made some really high quality stuff before, so I'm going to be a little bit harsh to Simon. I know I think he can take it. You know what? This is really nice. We are on a really high level now. We're talking well-produced, great beats, hands down. But I think you've made some mistakes with this one. I think you made some mistakes. Everything about this is so cool. So cool. So good. But some of the bass notes are not in tune. In my ear. That's what I'm picking up on. That some of the bass notes are not in tune. But the bigger problem that it's a fine line between swing and grooviness and like energy and I know. But I think you took it a little bit too far. Some of the sections works beautifully, and especially one of the like more stripped down patterns. The crazy bass line, the crazy kick drum rhythm doesn't really work perfectly with the chops. I think it's here. Yeah, the rhythm of the drums and the rhythm of the strings doesn't match up. And sizes is in the chat. Cool. I mean, I know what you're doing, and I know what it feels like. You're working on it. I'm sure you started working on this beat in a slightly lower tempo, and then you increased the tempo as you went. And I'm sure you loved the groove of the drums. I do as well. And I'm sure that you loved how the string sounds. But playing those two together makes something a little bit... not talking about much. It's just, a few ticks or whatever it's called. Something about the swing is not perfectly... It's not supposed to be straight. I know that. It's supposed to be swingy, and you want that. But in this section, some of the kick drums are a little bit too off to add something. They're enough off to take something away. Well said, accurate. Don't know what I said, but it sounded good. It's good. This is, I'm thinking Jedi mind tricks. People like that. Apathy. I love that style, but there was a slight misalignment between the amount of swing in the different things that made me realize that, hey, you got a little bit carried away here. You're allowed to get carried away, but sometimes, sizes. You know what I'm saying? Or am I wrong? I totally get what you mean with the kick drum. Yeah, cool. That's what I wanted to say. And also that some of the bass notes feels squeezed in there in a way that maybe is not exactly like... Thank you, Simon. Appreciate you. Appreciate having people like you in the community, bringing that old school boom bappy stuff. And it's cool that you always, or most of the things I've heard from you is, sampled from orchestral stuff. That's cool. The next track comes from someone who doesn't write a single word. Vikio Bud. In one word. Vikio Bud. Yeah. Let's see what this is. It's an audio file, so it's something. We can put it into VLC and see what happens. I did it twice. Someone in the chat room said, I can see the vision. Me too. I can see the vision. I understand what you're going for with this one. But the word that comes to mind is repetitive. Everything in here is good. Quality stuff, straight out. But the fact that nothing really happened in the arrangement made it feel like, yeah, this is a beat to fight to. Not the arrangement, the other way around. The beat itself felt like this is a beat to fight to. This is fight music, 100%. But you're never really starting the fight. Even though it's really punchy and aggressive and has a lot of stuff going, the lack of dynamics in the arrangement makes you go like, okay, now we're going full volume right here. From this point, full volume, and then absolutely nothing happens because it's going to be full volume all the time. And this is what it is, and it's the same loop, and we're doing it, and the volume is... Do you know what I'm saying? Now I sound too critical, but that's the emotion I'm getting. It feels cool. It has a lot of potential. The idea is 100% there, but you need to break it up. You need to switch it up and make it different. You kind of did it at one point by just taking one thing out, and that doesn't count in this case. You need to go one step further. Either breaking it down completely, making it very more minimalistic, or switching it up. Make something else. Use the same sounds, use the same whatever, but change the chords, the sounds, the tempo, the energy. Switch it up somehow. That's, repetitive. I keep saying that stuff is repetitive too often. It's not just repetitive, but it becomes monotone. Even though you have many tones, if that makes sense. The snare is also too loud. I know that sometimes words like generic can feel really harsh. Well, Vikio Beats is in the chat. I understand, no problem. An honest opinion. I have 3 breakdown later, but I respect the feedback. We keep learning. You have a breakdown? This is different. Was that the breakdown? I think that was the breakdown. And again, I gotta be harsh and say that's not enough in this case. That one note you have on the first one, wah, take that one out. Take the drums out. Made so well says super skillful. Yeah, I mean, this is well produced in so many ways. I'm not hating on the production, on the track itself. It's good. It's good. But you just need something else. A section that breaks it down, not just, I took the hi-hat out. Take everything out. Change something up. Other notes, whatever. But the reason for me to react this strongly is that it sounds so good. It is so good. How come you didn't do this? For a beginner who just makes a loop and sends it in, that's one thing. You're clearly talented and you know what you're doing. But why didn't you do the most obvious thing? Break it up. Make a section that someone said, just make the change obvious. Yeah. Make it super obvious for the listener to kind of breathe and just realize that, hey, yeah, I'm listening to something. This changed. Now something happened. And then we're back to full volume. I don't know, but I don't like the drum pattern at all, says Hannibal Actor. Yeah, I mean, I try to not point stuff like that out, but sure. I think the drum pattern could work if you adjusted the volumes. Boom, zoom, kan, kan, kum, katum, kantum, kan. Could be, dum, zoom, kanum, kum, kutum, kanum, dum. You know, more dynamics definitely would help with different volumes and whatever. High quality stuff, hands down. I'm not saying anything else. BQ Bud, thanks a lot for sending it in, and thanks for, I don't think we've seen you here before. Welcome. Shit, I move so slowly between these tracks. Wig Walk in the chat room, right? Accurate. This is a raw record shop. Nothing added. There is a high frequency ringing somewhere. It needs to be EQ'd. Thanks, Wigmaster. Okay, a raw record shop, nothing added. Sometimes I have a problem with stuff like that, but maybe not now. Let's have a listen to Wig Master. Okay, something is way too loud. My bad. You know, some of those notes, I normally don't react that strongly to things being out of tune, but when it's vocals and it's like, okay. The idea of chopping a record like this and just, I mean, if it's a straight up record chop, you filtered out the bass and kind of, you know, made the bass line what it is. Awesome stuff. I like the sonics of this. Sounds cool, is cool. The project itself is awesome. You pointed it out that you're going to add, or that it needs at least. What did you say? An 808 kick? I can't even find the message. Now I'm sad. That's not you. Okay, it moves along too quickly. I can't follow. You said something yourself, I think, about it needing an 808 kick in the bottom. And maybe it does. But the bass here is so powerful, so strong, so I don't know. Maybe a simple rim shot for a snare. If you want to keep it minimalistic. But the fact that some of the notes in the vocal is so out of tune, I can't get beyond that. This is good. That note. Wow. I'm sorry, but that one needs to be fixed. Needs to be pitched or tuned slightly in some direction. I'm not sure. Down, I think. Whenever things are a little bit sour and spicy and jazzy and whatever, I can buy it. But in this case, no, that one can't. That one needs to be fixed. But yeah, people are shouting out Rock Marciano. People are talking about Griselda. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I'm getting more and more into that myself. I doubt that I'm ever going to make that kind of music, but it's cool. Especially when you have a rapper like Rock on it. This is good stuff. Really well done. Really well done. Maybe something to kind of emphasize the rhythm of it. I know you're not going to put full drums on it, but maybe a snare, maybe an 808 kick, maybe something like that. And those notes that are so much out of tune. I don't know. I can just not use those words. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. I just can't not point it out. Tuning it will lose character. Yeah. In general, but when you have something that sticks out like that, I can't help but making a face, you know? It can't be that off. According to me. According to me. This is cool. That one. No. But that's the only one, I think. I'll go back to the record and get some better chops. I think you have great chops. This is some awesome stuff, straight up. But just that one. I think you notice it as I'm pointing. I think you're noticing it as I'm pointing it out. You know. But yeah, let's move on. That's cool. That type of straight up record chops, you know, it's hit or miss. In this case, I think you hit it. It's good. Except from that note. 3 more tracks to go, I think. This one comes from Contrabass. Hi, Contrabass from Croatia here. On YouTube, I'm Beatmeister. Last time I sent you one of my beats, I was so happy with review. You told me to send some more beats, so here I am. Did I? Sometimes I'm smart. Everything is sampled from vinyl and layered. For this one, I only used Machine Mark II as a MIDI controller. Not a fan of it. MPC is my thing. Big fan of your lives. Sit back and relax. Cool. I know you've submitted before, and if it was me telling you to send in more beats, you did the right thing. Let's have a listen to Contrabass. Yeah. Someone is pointing it out in the chat room that it's a bit repetitive. It is. Maybe the hi-hat is a little bit stiff too, but other than that, this is cool. You know, that kind of Tribe Called Questy type of bass line is, you know, I'm weak for that kind of stuff. Nice and swingy without being too much. You know, simple, cool, sample-based hip-hop stuff. A few different samples being layered and whatever. Love this kind of thing about the entire art form. This is where it's at. This is good. It is a bit repetitive, mostly because of that. Because it takes so much focus, and it's hard to not pay attention to it, and it comes back a little bit too often. I mean, I'm noticing that you're doing all types of different chops between the bars where that goes, which is nice. I appreciate that. I acknowledge that you're doing it, and I see why, because it adds to it. But when you're leaving that so often, it becomes repetitive anyways, because it's so obvious that it's a loop and it comes back, and then we have some smaller changes. But that also means that the smaller changes doesn't get noticed as much when you have this loud. But the groove itself with the drums and the bass line, super old school, super soulful stuff. It's cool. But it becomes repetitive, and it feels less fun and less good than it is, because it feels that way. And he says it again, XXTHY. Again, make the change obvious. That's what I'm talking about too. Because when you have a solid foundation like this loop basically is, or these different loops are, making a change that really, really makes you notice makes a big difference. It's laid back, it's relaxed, it's soulful, it's classic, it's jazzy. The vibe is there. I just think you can do more with the variations. And he's also in the chat saying, true. Yeah. Again, we have all the ingredients for something beautiful. You did something beautiful, but then you need, I think, you need to add something to it to make it flip on its head. I said we're going to do 2 more, which we are. So Atmosphere, I got your email, but I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to do, because if I want to play Atmosphere, I got to do everything before that. So then we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have 10 more beats to play, and we don't have time. That's what it is. I'm sorry. Another one with a bunch of emails. Again with the machine concept of... Okay. 3 beats for the show. Do you think an external mouse pad with stripe function... is this... No, this is from December. My bad. Sometimes it becomes threads and whatever. Your last thing is just one single email. It's right here. Good afternoon, Accurate. Another beat for the show. From a lot of letters that I don't know how to pronounce or say. It looks like Nava'i-i-Wutnuk. Panaga. Hard. Beats Platoon. Shit. This is Beats Platoon. My bad. And where is my Finder window? And it says clearly in the file name. I'm just stupid. I'm sorry. The next submission comes from Beat Platoon. Let's have a listen. Well, yeah, cool. Beat Platoon with this little submission. This is a cool one. I mean, let's break it down quickly. The bass, the 808, whatever it is, works so well. It shouldn't. It kind of shouldn't in this genre, this kind of style, but it does. Maybe it's just a bass line. To me, right now, it sounds like an 808 together with everything else, but whatever. The bass line works really well. The drums could be more interesting, but I think that's fine. The problem I'm feeling here is that the flute thing, that's really harmonic and really cool and, you know, so well worked in there. It's unfortunately too loud in the mix for me to kind of feel that it works as well as it does. Musically, harmonically, melodically, it just works. But it's too loud. And I think you need a snare drum here that's a little bit less dry, that blends in a little bit better, maybe. But the amount of phaser. Using an effect in a creative way like that is something I'm pretty much always for. In this case, you really put the mix to the absolute max, blending it all in. It sounds cool. It's a way to use an effect that's not just, I use a little bit of it just because I want to give it a little bit of a shine. No, you're just going full ham on it for it to be special. And it is. And that works with this, with the flute and everything. I think it's cool. It gives this nice. I mean, it's pretty much a ghetto kind of way to add some movement and some stuff to something that's maybe a little bit flat and boring from the get-go, that's smart. I don't use phasers a lot myself, but using it in this way is inventive, creative, cool, and fun. And the bass works, everything is good. This is solid. But the fact that the flute is too loud makes it, just take it down. Maybe sidechain. I don't know. No sidechain on this one. But take it down in volume. That's all you need. And the snare drum. But we already said that. Beat Platoon. Right? Beat Platoon. Thanks a lot. Now we are moving into the last submission for today. I have told you guys that I'm going to do these live streams for 2 hours, and it always becomes at least 3. Right now we're pushing 3 hours in 4 minutes. So yeah, 3 minutes, 3 hours. That's what it is. And I guess you're noticing that I'm yawning a lot, and I don't know. I think I just need sleep. I have a lot of work to do tomorrow in here in the studio on creative stuff, but still a lot of work. The last beat for today comes from someone called Jan. 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 In Sweden it's Jan. It's a male's name. Jan. That's all I know. No text, no nothing, just a submission from someone called Jan. And I already think I did it. Yeah, it's already in there. The track is called happy2.mp3. So maybe we're gonna finish this stream off with something happy. Who knows? Let's have a listen to Jan. Cool. So this is apparently XXTHY in the chat, who has been telling everyone to make changes in the tracks that are obvious, right? And he can't have proved his point. Making changes and switch ups and B sections and stuff in the track that's obvious is a really good thing. What stands out to me here with the different sections and the different variations is that they blend really seamlessly between one another. I try to make kind of a thing for me in my tracks, I try to do it kind of the opposite way. Whenever I want a subtle change to happen, I don't care too much about the transition between section A and B. You obviously do. It all makes musical sense and it keeps me interested as a listener. I want to hear more of it. I want to hear where next are you going to take us, you know? Now, musically speaking, it's called Happy 2. And I have this weird relationship with music in major keys altogether. I want my music to be punchy, groovy, forceful, aggressive, in your face. That's one thing. I want them to be wonky and kind of J Dilla quirky in one way, or I want them to be melancholic and serious, but everything is serious to me. Funny music is the worst thing I know. Happy music, I can buy. I can get on with the happy music, but normally I'm not sure. This feels happy and kind of hopeful and, you know, not happy in kind of a childish, plasticky way, but happy in more of a grown-up way. I'm having a hard time saying words right now. It's happy in a way that makes sense, that I can buy as a listener. It's not too happy for me to be like, this is icky, you know? And I think you're balancing it up by using that amount of, I don't know if it's overdrive, saturation, distortion, whatever it is, that gives the entire thing this interesting kind of texture. And without that texture, it would be just too happy. In this case, I think this is good. You are borderline too happy with this one, but I can buy it. And the grittiness and the distortion and stuff in the sonics helps. Super chat from Carbon Vibes. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for being here. At all. It's in C sharp minor. It might be, but it still sounds like major. Yeah, the sonics of it helps it a lot. The composition itself, if you just took the MIDI notes and put them on different instruments, I think I would kind of hate it, to be honest. Just the pure musical notes in there. Not my taste. But you switched it up with a lot of textures and a lot of stuff that made it interesting and a little bit darker than it is, which is a good thing in this case. Thanks a lot for sending it in. This was good. And kind of a funny track to go off on. Thanks everyone. That's the end of the chat. That's the end of the stream. Whatever. Yeah. And your name in the email was Jan, right? Now I did something with the inbox. Okay. We have way more beats that should be played, but unfortunately, I gotta set the line somewhere. Gotta put down my foot. Gotta be like that about it. I know it's not good, and I can only imagine sending something in, watching the stream, just being a part of the entire thing and not being played. I understand how that would be disappointing. I do. But it's been 3 hours, and I think that's That's what it is. As I've said many times, I'm on some kind of schedule now, doing live streams every Monday the same time. Every other week we're doing this. Every other week I'm doing something else. Next Monday, I guess I'm just gonna have a little bit of a beat making session in here. Making music on the MPC, using a lot of stuff. I changed this up the other day. Talked about it in the video about the Chaos Pad, I think. No, about the audio interface. So using that part of the setup is more interesting now than it's ever been. And I'm going to make a beat making live stream. I think it's going to be a beat making stream next Monday. The Monday after that is going to be another beat review. For you guys to send your beats in, for me to sit here and listen to it and talk about them. This is still a fun thing to do. Would I want more viewers? Would I want more new participants? Yeah. Not gonna lie. But it's also kind of good as it is. We kind of know each other at this point. That has a value. But for tonight, for this beat review live stream, we are done. We're not gonna hear any more beats. Not gonna hear any more feedback. Nothing like that. I'm reading my text and yeah, supposed to be in so many places tomorrow. I don't know how to fix my schedule. That's not your problem though. Not going to put that on you. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks a lot for submitting beats. Thanks a lot for being patient with not being played, if that's the case for you. Next week should be Nam commenting. It should be. It should be. Nam starts tomorrow, right? The 20th. And then it's is that going Tuesday to Friday? And then we're doing the stream on Monday? Oh, yeah, just talking about the stuff. I think you're right. Who said that? Who said that? A smart person, I'm sure. Cheers for having us. That was fun. Okay, where was it? What? How can I lose stuff in the chat in like 20 seconds? I did. Beat Platoon did. Okay, so... And I deleted it. You know me. Why do you do that? You write something in the chat room, then you delete it. You do that all the time. Beat Platoon had an idea. Might make sense to make a live stream just commenting on Nam. Maybe watching a few of the videos live. Becoming a reactor. I don't know. Again, thanks a lot for hanging out tonight. Next week is going to be something different. Beat making or just talking about the Nam show. Depending on what comes out, I guess. I only know a few things. Again, I have kind of a hard time ending these live streams. I do. But he trolling? Nah, I think it makes sense to just do some Nam commenting for real. I mean, a lot of people do that. They just, on live streams on Twitch and even in videos, just watching videos, reacting to it. I'm not doing that. I'm going to add a lot of commenting and talk about opinions and whatever. But still, there's going to be a lot of videos from the show floor of Nam. Watching some of those on the stream, talking about them with you guys could make sense. But I don't know. Beat making with talking about Nam on the side. You know what? If I decide to make a beat making stream next week, I'm not going to be able to not talk about Nam. We're going to do a little bit of that anyways. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me think about that. But for now, for this live stream, as I've said, we are over and out. So, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for submitting beats, all that. I've tried to update my website a little bit more, so now we have a few dates for the upcoming beat reviews. So if you want to like double check on what week we're on, go to accuratebeats.com. That's where the information is. Thanks for tonight, guys. Time to sign out, and until the next stream or video or whatever,